What's up everybody? Welcome back to the birthplace of absolutely legendary gains. In this video, we are just going to talk about Bitcoin and where we could potentially find a bottom, because the bottom is not in yet and, well, we have to figure out where that might be. So if you're interested to find out what's going to happen to Bitcoin next, because trust me, the entire market's really feeling the pain right now, and it's for good reason. This dump right here is, I feel like it's even worse than the May 2021 crash. So, if you're down and you're feeling pain, you're not the only one. Let's just tell you that much. So before we dive right into it, if you haven't already followed me on Twitter at _theart_of_crypto yet, this is where I am sharing the latest market updates as well as just any coins that I might be looking at. And, just want to stay up to date and figure out exactly what I'm looking at. Follow me on Twitter at _theart_of_crypto. So Bitcoin, let's take a look. So before this, I said that we are not at the bottom yet, right? The bottom is not in yet. And there's a couple of reasons for that. First of which is we haven't had like any kind of a bounce at all. And just to put it into perspective, right here, you can see that there was liquidity up here. And then the market makers just wicked it up during London and, just dumped it. And right now, New York has opened, but, they're not really doing anything much. If anything, it's still wicking downwards. So I don't think the bottom is in yet. Although if there is one thing that gives me hope that things might be looking good now is if we go back onto the Bitcoin CME futures, you can see that there is a gap here, right? And we filled it already. So this whole time, it could just be Bitcoin being attracted to price over here. And now that we have filled in the gap, maybe we can start the reversal now. So going back to Bitcoin USD, and in my humble opinion, I don't think there is much more, long side liquidity in order to take out, right? If anything, you have gotten a very large amount of buy stops up above. This entire drop down, there's been a lot of people who have opened shorts but refuse to take profit because they think that they're short, that maybe they caught at 69k is going to turn them into a millionaire. And what's going to end up happening is these people are going to hold on to their positions because, they're a swing trader, something like that, and they refuse to take profits. And that is the ones that are at 69k. You have people that open shorts here, and everything else. What I am going to bet is that there is a lot of naked positions running right now. Short positions that have no stop loss. And let's just say that there is way more liquidity up top compared to down low. So is the bottom in yet? No, but it's very close to being in because there is just not much. Like in retail terms, we would call it the buyers exhausted or something like that, or sellers are exhausted. Let's call it that way. There is no longer, sure, there is some liquidity still left, and we'll discuss that. But at the moment, we're getting close. Let's just put it that way. So in order to figure out where is the bottom, there are only two scenarios that could happen. So if you remember in last week's Bitcoin video, I mentioned that there was a UFA at 32,000, about 500-ish, right? So if we get there, it's going to be really, really strong support. Do I still think that it's going to be really, really strong support? Yes and no. So for a couple of reasons. So right now, if we take a look at Bitcoin Volatility Index, you can see that this thing is, it's high, but it could go higher, right? Historically speaking, you could still go higher. So in the event that if Bitcoin volatility goes to, let's say, 9 points, then definitely 100% 32 is not going to be the bottom. If that happens, what I am of the opinion of is something like this. So if I just zoom out, so many people would look at this and immediately go isn't this like a heads and shoulders pattern forming? And yes, you might be right. It could be a heads and shoulders. So if I just remove this line right here, then this is something that could absolutely happen. And then, you just go to zero. And this sort of lines up with macroeconomic factors as well, because currently macroeconomics in the whole world are not looking pretty good. Let's just put it that way. The stock markets, as well as the traditional markets, are on the brink of collapse. Let's just put it that way. So in the event that Bitcoin volatility does go higher, this is what's going to happen, right? You're going to go wick just a tiny bit below, give or take, you're going to wick below 29k. That is in my opinion. So you're going to buy, you're just going to wick below this, right? Because the markets work on liquidity. And when you have so many equal lows over here that have not been taken out, this is liquidity right here that you can take out as a market maker. So in the event that you go take out the liquidity, then everyone's going to start thinking, oh my God, it's going to zero, right? You just broke this really strong support. So retail is going to immediately be thinking, hey, it's time to short this. Meanwhile, the market makers are I'm very certain they are just going to reverse things, right? This is called a liquidity purge and revert. Let's just put it that way. And in my opinion, something like this is going to happen. So there are only two scenarios right now. Firstly, Bitcoin volatility does not go higher and we just chill here and we just go tap into 32,500 and that's going to be the bottom. However, I don't think that's very likely because if we are at 32,500, we are so close to 30k, right? So honestly, it's 50-50 at this point, right? I can't tell you exactly what's going to happen, but what I will be doing is I'll just be dollar cost averaging, right? I've been sitting flat for the most part from this point till this point right here. If there is any time to be buying, it's going to be right now. So I'm just going to place, a few orders at 32,500 as well as 29k. In the event that we hit both of these levels, I'll be chill, right? It'll just, wick downwards and then it'll go up. At least that is, in my opinion, what is going to happen, right? I don't think we go much lower than that. In the event that we do go lower, I'm going to look at 24k. I might look at 26k, but, currently this is what I think is going to happen, right? So let's just move this wick down a little bit, something like that. So that is my opinion of what's going to happen to Bitcoin. And if you haven't watched the live stream that I posted, like the latest live stream that I did, it is chock full of value. Like, I kid you not, it's just full of information that I would only share in the private Discord group. And, there's no fluff. I genuinely just try to help you in that stream. So if you haven't watched that stream already, it's an hour and a half of pure value. Trust me, you're going to get, it's very worth it to watch it. I'm going to link it at the top right-hand corner. Make sure you check that out. So since I have time right now, let's take a look at Ethereum because, I really don't give Ethereum the love that it deserves. So let's talk about Ethereum, right? Ethereum is a similar structure to Bitcoin, whereby you have very equal lows over here, which means that it's liquidity just waiting to be taken out. However, there is also another argument to be made that there is, Ethereum is currently in a bullish order block, just like Bitcoin. So seriously, for both Ethereum and Bitcoin, they are in do or die moments. Now, if they fail, it just means that they are going to go take out the liquidity before a mean revert. No, not a mean reversion. They're just going to take out the liquidity before reverting it. So at the moment, I'm just going to pay attention to Ethereum at these levels, which is where it's at right now, 2200, or rather 2170, 2000 and 1700 to 1800, give or take 1800 to 1700, right? But let's just call it 1700 for all intents and purposes, right? If we get there, that's where I will be looking to set my heaviest orders, because trust me when I say that, I know it doesn't seem like it, and I know it doesn't feel like it, but we are very close to the bottom at the moment. A lot of people, I don't know if you guys were around during the May crash, but I remember getting so criticized back then for saying that we are close to the bottom, that we should be buying, that, we are not going to go to zero. I was criticized really heavily for that. And at the end of it, what I got in return was I 6x my portfolio during the run up. Of course, some losses here and there. I could have made better investing decisions, maybe focusing more on the layer ones. But regardless, I got a lot of flack back then for being bullish over here, right? And right now, I am getting a lot of flack as well for being bullish over here. So I don't know. I could be wrong, of course. Nobody has a perfect track record, and that includes me. I am not some, prophet that, is right every single time. I admit that. But if there's one thing that I'm sure of is the fact that the odds that you will be rewarded for buying in this zone right here is going to be higher than the odds of you getting absolutely wrecked and, it going to zero. Because right now, fear is so high. I know it's really cliche to talk about fear and greed or stuff like that, but seriously, go look back to every single instance of extreme fear in the markets. It doesn't need to be crypto. Look at stocks, look at forex, or just anything at all. Even crypto, it's the best example, right? Whenever fear is at its highest, right? You can look back to 2020 during that dump, right? During that dump, I think it was this one. Yeah, look at this, right? Back then, fear was ridiculous. And look what happened after that. It's just things like that, man. You tend to get rewarded for counter trading the herd, right? When everybody else is being fearful. I know it sounds really cliche, but you have to understand that there's only about 5 to 10% of people in the entirety of the markets that are profitable, right? And that means, if you think about it, as long as you're trading against the other 90% of people who are thinking the same way, you're going to come out on top, right? Right now, the entirety of, you look through Twitter right now, you look through YouTube right now, everything is just about, oh my God, we are going to 20K, we're going back to 10K, we're going back to 5K. And I heard none of those when we were still up here, when we were up here. So what I'm trying to get at is, do you see the issue? When we're down here, everyone's really bearish. When we're up here, everything everyone thinks we're going to 100K. Do you see the issue? So, how do I even put this, man? Market movements take time. They take time to play out. I can tell you roughly where the bottom is going to be, but we might just go into another accumulation range, right? If you look at it, right? If we remove everything, maybe we just go to another chart, for example, Bitcoin USD, for example, you can see that, if I drew it this way, right? Take a look at this. We are just in a very macro accumulation range, right? Let me remove this. We're just in a macro accumulation range between these 2 points right here, right? Right now, we're coming back to the range low. So it makes sense that you might want to buy. And I presume something like this is going to happen again, where if we do really breach the range lows, it's going to make it seem like the market makers are going to make it seem like it is bearish for like a short amount of time, maybe a couple months, right? It's going to wick down, keep us in a range, wick down again, and then it's going to revert. In my humble opinion, that is the thing that happens, right? After looking through so many, like just these market makers shenanigans, it's stuff you come to expect looking at a chart like this, right? When in doubt, zoom out. Right now, we're coming back to a macro accumulation range low, and there's really no panic. Like there's really no reason why you should be feeling bearish at the range lows. The ones that have the balls to pull the trigger when things are down here, they tend to get rewarded, let's just put it that way. So, rant over, that's not the time to be panicking, my friend. Just so happens that Total 2 is coming close to support as well. And my opinion, if it does come back to 24 million, that could be a very good place to buy. Just go back into your altcoins, you know what I mean? You buy at support, you sell at resistance, just stuff like that, right? If you look at Total 2, my goodness, right? You've lost so much money in crypto, but there's this other interesting statistic. So right now, right, Google search volume for Bitcoin just hit a year low. If you're still interested, like historically, right, the remaining folks until retail interests bottom out have eventually won this game. It just goes back to what I've been saying, right? This is the point where everyone loses interest. This is the point where everyone gives up and just sells the bag. That's what the market makers want you to do. They don't want you to win, because then they'll have to pay you out of their own pockets. They want you to lose so that you can pay them out of your own pockets, right? They're in the business of making money. They're not in the business of helping you make money, right? As long as you understand that, you understand why there's only about 5 to 10% of the people in crypto that makes it. And, right now, just know it's hard. Trust me, I know it's hard, right? Especially as a content creator such as myself, I got a lot of flack back then, right? Similarly, I'm getting a lot of flack over here as well. So I hope you understand just basic market psychology here. At the moment, this pattern is still in play. You will find a potential bottom at 28K. If I were you, I would set an order at 28K as well, just to take advantage of something like this. But if we lose 28K, there's a very good chance that we might go back to 24.4. Not saying it's going to happen, but just something you want to keep an eye out for. Do I think we go back there? Honestly, not really. And I understand I can totally be wrong here. And if I am, then so be it, right? That's where risk management comes into play. You're not supposed to bet your entire house on Bitcoin bouncing from here, right? You take calculated bets with good risk management that has proven to be profitable over time, right? So even if I'm wrong, hey, so be it. But yeah, just hope you guys understand just basic market psychology here. And again, if you want to join the private Discord group where you're going to get the latest market updates and stuff like that, follow along with all the trades that I'm calling, and get access to the trading course, then check out the link in the description below. But with that said, make sure you check out the live stream as well, right? There's a lot of tidbits of information in there, just a lot of value, right? Let's just say it's going to help you out. So please go have a look. Just watch it for like 15 to 30 minutes and decide if you like it or not. But for now, hopefully this update has been of some help. May the gain to be with you for now. Trade safe, AOC fam, and peace.